progress.
Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Abom. We're continuing Mishnah Berurah, Daf HaShavua. Avrami, I would say it be'ivrit, but my ivrit, I'm better in English, okay? So you have to... Okay. Siman Ayin Hey. Siv Katan Zayin. Yesterday we learned the Shita of the Mechaber that a tefach uncovered in a woman, which is normally covered, even if it's one's own wife, you can't say Dvarim Shebekadusha by it. However, the Ramah brought a Yesh Shoimrim that the din of tefach megula is only your wife. But Isha Acheres, even less than a tefach, is an erva. So that's a big chumrah, that by Isha Acheres, even less than a tefach is a chumrah. So Ramah said that from the Rosh, who says tefach Isha erva is even li Isha Acheres, that implies that it's the Shiur is even for Isha Acheres. Just a woman herself, her uncovered body is not an erva. Says the Mishnah Berurah Katan Zayin, pachos mi tefach. Bottom line is, we're not machmer in less than a tefach. However, v'im hashoik megula, if it's the upper leg, yesh omrim da'afilu be'ishtoi upachos mi tefach. Some say even one's own wife, and less than a tefach, asr likrois negda. It's asr to say it opposite. Again, because this is not exeris hakasav, it's asli they hear her. So in that area, it's more likely to come to hear her. Shumakam her yoiser mishari varim. I think we could add based on that. Yesterday we saw that Lachein sarch lizar b'shah shamei nekes umegula l'dader shlo l'daber oz shum divrei kedusha. So we said, but it has to be tefach. It has to be only. It's only a problem if it's a tefach. But according to this Mishnah Berurah, l'chara that would apply there also. That even less than a tefach perhaps would be an issue. Okay, now. The Mishnah Berurah continues. V'chol zaloi ayri elel inyan iser krishma. This is all talking about the iser krishma. Deha iser hu laharbei poiskim likrois neged hamegula afilu b'loy mechavein listakule. This is talking about the regarding the iser of krishma, that the iser, according to many poiskim, is to read opposite the uncovered part, even if you're not intending to gaze. Avol le'inyan iser histaklos, regarding gazing. L'kulei alma hamistakel be'isha afilu be'etzba ketana kivan shemistakel ba lehanois oiver b'loi sasuru acharei einechem. In other words, we just said that there's a question. Well, maybe in certain mekaimos which elicit more herhurim, it's a problem with less than a tefach. So you could say, well, maybe yeah, maybe no, maybe you don't have to be machmer. That's regarding the issur of saying Dvarim Shebekadusha. But regarding gazing at a woman, one is not allowed to intentionally gaze at a woman, even her pinky, even her guf mechusa, if the intention is kedei leihanos. It's a lav in the Torah. So the Dirshu brings down some interesting things over here. He says, regarding the Isser of Histaklos, that he says, Histaklos means you're looking at the woman to determine what her look is or how she looks. But to look at a woman to know who it is and who you're speaking to, that's permitted. In other words, there's no isser of lo yisasur acharei levavchem to if somebody sees a woman on the street and says good morning, or just to speak to them for whatever asek ba'alma that somebody's doing. The isser of histaklos is for the purpose of knowing eich hi nires, the way she looks. What about relatives, a mother-in-law, a daughter-in-law? There's isser histaklos as well. But imai, bitai, achoisa, there's no isser histaklos. Okay. What about Temunois Nashim? So he brings from the Nachlas Binyamin and the Salmas Yosef that the Isser of Histaklus is even to look at a picture. So in other words, people have, with the Jewish magazines, sometimes people say, well, why are they being prejudiced, not having pictures in there? But the Isser of Histaklus does apply to Nashim even in a picture. He brings from Rabbi Binyamin Zilber that okay, we'll leave that. Okay, the Mishnah Berurah continues. Va'amru sha'afilu yesh b'yadai Torah masim toivim lo yinakem midina shel Gehenim. Even someone who is a Talmid Chacham and does mitzvahs and masim toivim, he will not be spared from strict judgment if one is nichshal, if somebody is not careful in this inyan. Uriya be'alma lefi tumai b'loi ne'ene shari. Just looking in the course of normal behavior without hana is permitted. We had this discussion on Shabbos. One of the chashuv bachrim, I can't say who they were, they said if the babysitter would start talking to them and say good morning, they wouldn't say back good morning. So I said, no, that's not right. Somebody says good morning to you, you look at them and you say good morning. But you should not take it where a person is looking at them for the sake of knowing how they look, but just regular interaction for derech eretz, that is not under the rubric of lo sasura. Fine. Im loy mitzad hamusar. He says riya ba'amal fidum leinena shari, unless mitzad extra pious practice. Uvesefer minchas shmol heichech the adam chashav yesh lizar b'chal gavnei. The minchas shmol says a person should adam chashav should be careful under all circumstances, which means like this. Meaning, don't just let your eyes fly. In other words, you're walking down the street, you'll say, well, it's not a problem. I'm not intending to look for the sake of looking. I'm just sort of walking down the street. So mitzad hamusar, or if someone's an adam chashav, they should be careful not even to look lefi tumai. But what if, for whatever reason, somebody comes to you or you need to speak to somebody? L'chayra mitzad hamusar, under certain circumstances, also says that lefi tumai, sometimes you're going to have to. Because again, the Isser is only if you're mistakel kedei lehanais. Lefi tumai is mutter. Imloi elamai, it's better to be careful mitzad hamusar. So, you have to know the circumstance and the situation. What mitzad hamusar calls for in each case. Fine. The a place that's normally covered. Kagain zroye seha. For example, her arms, uchahai gavna, shar mekoymai saguf, af ru'iya ba'alma aser. A part of a lady's body that's normally covered, even to look lefi tumai, is not just mitzad hamusar, is aser. Afrek the Chafetz Chaim, a gavaldiga kasha. Wow, listen to this kasha. Why am I paskening that Ri'iyah b'makom shedarchan lios mechusa is aser? It's a psik reisha. Not only delay nichale, it's einoi mechavein. It's a davar she'eino miskavein. Not exactly sure what the gather of it is, but his kasha is it's davar she'eino miskavein. Why a makom mechusa on a woman do we say even lefi tumai is an issue, but it's einoi mechavein? Says the Chafetz Chaim, einoi mechavein is when you drag a bench, because it's not something that the Yetzer Hara will draw you into. But when it comes to the histaklos, which is ma'ora pitoy hayetzer, you have to be careful, even davar she'eino miskavein. So in other words, if you're walking down the street in Manhattan in the summer, If you're walking down the street in the winter, and what are you going to see already? You're going to see a lady, so lefi tumai, it's permitted that your eyes should see a woman. But if you're walking down the street in the summer, and lefi tumai you might see a makai magula, then l'chayra, taking off one's glasses is not just midar chamusar. It might be meikar hadin. You hear this? You hear what we're learning? I didn't know this. In other words, before today, if you would have asked me, if I'm on a bus and maybe my eye will see a makkah mechusa and a woman, so I would have said, okay, it's eno miskavein. Avada, you want to be a kadosh, so take off your glasses or look the other way. But now, from the Mishnah Berurah, it seems that to see makom shaderach lios mechusa, afriya ba'alma is asar. No, that's a chiddush. That's a chiddush. And Chavetz Chaim, even in the Be'er Mayim Chaim, the Dirshu quotes in Hilchos Lashon Hara, asks, "What do you mean? It's eina mechavin. I'm just minding my own business. I don't need to see a makom mechusa." But it seems like we're more machmir when it comes to Isser Histaklos, and you should avoid it. Now, according to what we learned earlier, that even a tmuna of a woman is an issue of loisasuru. So if you're in a makam where that's an issue, so it's a big inyan to try to avoid even seeing something be'ena miskaven. Yeah, I think that seems what the Mishnah Berurah is saying al pi din. Okay, then the Rama says v'nira midivrei harash that tefach be'isha is an erva even. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't read the Rush correctly in the Rama. When the Rama says v'nira midivrei harash the tefach be'isha erva afilu le'isha acheres, the point is one woman to another woman, tefach be'isha is an erva. Okay, that's an important thing. I didn't read that correctly. That, in other words, for Yenta, Sprinza's arm is an erva. In other words, Yenta and Sprinza, they're having tea together, and they say, well, there are no men around, so our elbows are uncovered. Yenta can't make a shahakal if Sprinza's elbow is uncovered. By the way, that's a big chiddush, no? Because it's not Gzeres HaKasav that Tefach Megula B'Isha is an erva. It's only because of Hirhurim. So l'chayra, why does that even make sense? Why should Tefach Megula B'Isha be an erva L'Isha Acheres? No, it's a good kasha. L'chayra, maybe the Mechaber wouldn't agree with that. Let's see the Rush. Aval haraj v'choylek alzeh. The time of the Srei dechi hechi de ba'atzma yicholik rosh aruma. Just like a woman herself, she could say Shema even if she's aruma. Alma de'in begiloi kol gufa mishum v'layir b'cha ervas davar. So we see that by uncovering her guf, there's no issue of layir b'cha ervas davar. Elo la'anoshim mishum hirer. Kein af b'isha acheres mutaras likrois. Another woman is allowed to read ulespala negda even k'shi aruma. The Achroinim maskimim im harashba gevaldik. The Achroinim go with the Rashba. V'daitam degam harosh moidel. They hold the Ramah didn't read the Rush correctly. They hold that the Rush would be moided to the Rashba. So bottom line is, when Sprinza and Yenta have tea together, it would not be an issue if one of them has the tefach megula. V'da'oid the l'kul yama in motor likros negda kishi aruma. When we say that it's permitted for one woman to be koirei opposite another woman when she's aruma, that's only if the erva shalamata is on the ground and it's covered. But if it's nireis avikshemes dina kamay neged erva sisha afil b'shus acheres asa. But if she's standing, so then it's like standing opposite a man's erva, and it's aser. By the way, what about for a woman to say Kriya Shema neged tefach megula be'ish? I wouldn't think it's a problem. So the Aruch HaShulchan says yesh lehistapek. because the poskim are mashma, it's mutter even for a woman, because there's no chash of herhurim. However, earlier on the Mishnah Berurah says in Ayin Gimel Siv Katan Hey that if there's a chash of her for a woman, then it's a problem. Stam, interesting question. Is there an Isser Histaklos for a woman? Be'ish. The Kloisenberger Rebbe says, yes. The Reb Vosner says, if she's not being Misakel L'Shem's Nus, it's mutter. Rabbi said we'll hold it over here. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Sif Beis, Seyar Be'isha Erva. Have a good day, everyone. Kol Tov.
Recording
Start, yeah. Yeah.